What's going on, everyone? Paul Donis Maximus here. Thanks for checking out the AI Filmmaking Advantage, where here we talk about how to make and monetize AI filmmaking. And I'm doing this video as a follow-up to the video I did on the Luma Dream Machine Ray2 release. I've had a bit more time to play with it, especially now that I've unlocked that unlimited plan that they have, to where after you run out of all of your credits, you get put onto the relax mode. And I do want to do an update because some of you have asked me in the comment section about that particular plan. And after running more generations after that video, there are some things that have changed dramatically since then. Apparently, so many of you signed up for Ray2 that you actually broke their platform. I'm also going to show you a very interesting use case that I found with Ray2 that after I show it to you, you may also agree that the level of quality is on par or exceeds that of Netflix. So if you're someone who's been thinking about possibly utilizing Luma Dream Machine and their new Ray2 release, and you want to know what's currently going on with the platform and if it's going to be worth your time and money to give this platform a shot, then you're definitely going to want to watch this video from beginning to end. I also want to quickly mention for my students enrolled in the AI Cinematographer's Midjourney Playbook, I've actually added a new Airtable database for SREFs, and you can find that tab in the database. It's called SREFs That Slapped. And basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the SREFs that I find very interesting, very aesthetically stunning, and I'm building out that particular database with these SREFs. And what I want to do is for each SREF, there's going to be about 5 or 6 images per SREF so that you really get an idea of what's going on with those SREFs. As you may know, SREFs are very specific to Midjourney. They don't work anywhere else. And the way you want to think about SREFs is like color grading. Every time Neo is actually in the Matrix, you get this greenish look on all of those scenes. And that essentially is a color grade option that the filmmakers chose for those particular scenes. And that's essentially how you want to think about SREFs. I've actually got an AI cinematic music video that I'm working on that's going to be with one SREF just to kind of demonstrate this concept. So again, there's going to be a consistent look with that particular SREF throughout the entire music video. And as I come across more interesting SREFs, I will be sharing them with you in this Airtable database. So I literally just came up with this idea and started building this out, and this is what it looks like currently. But again, as I come across more SREFs that look great aesthetically, I'll be adding to this table on a continuous basis and giving you examples of some of the things that you can do with the particular SREF. Be on the lookout for that. And if you're not enrolled in the training, as of this video, you literally have 8 days left to take advantage of the beta launch early bird pricing. And trust me, I've got the process automated. If you visit that page after 8 days, you will see the new price, and it's only going to continue to go up from there as I continue to add more value to the training. So if you want to get in on the early bird pricing for as low as this training will ever be, then be sure to scan the QR code or go below this video, click the link to enroll in the AI Cinematographer's Midjourney Playbook, access the guide, access this Airtable database, and also get access to the video training as well. Be sure to go ahead and enroll while you're thinking about it so that you don't forget, so that 9 days later, you end up having to pay the new price. So once again, scan the QR code or go below this video, click the link to enroll today, and let's jump right into the video. So before the big outage that Luma had, their relaxed mode was actually pretty good. As you can see right here, I'm currently on the unlimited plan. And with their unlimited plan, once you run out of all of your 10,000 credits, they put you on something called a relaxed mode. This is the same thing that Midjourney does if you run out of all of your fast credits. And I upgraded to their unlimited plan once I ran out of all of my 10,000 credits once Ray2 came out. Now this view is going to be an even better view to show you what's going on with relaxed mode right now. They had a big outage around February 18th, which was this past Tuesday, that knocked their systems offline. Something happened to where it just screwed everything up, and I think it was because there were just way too many people signing up for Luma and it just overwhelmed their system. As you can see right now, it's been almost an hour. Literally in 2 minutes it will be an entire hour, and this generation that I have in this board has not generated yet. Previously, before this outage, it was literally taking generation generations in relaxed mode 5 minutes or less. I would say maybe it would stretch to about 6 or 7 minutes, give or take, but something is definitely broken with their relaxed mode, despite in their Discord server, they keep saying everything has been fixed. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to screenshot this because I already made a response to someone else's thread about this. And I'm posting this because I want to be helpful. I don't want it to seem like I'm just making stuff up. And I'm having to do this because they continually keep saying stuff like, we've fixed the ongoing issue with relaxed mode, but that obviously isn't the case. So again, that is one of the other ongoing issues with Luma is, I don't want to say that it's gaslighting, but what else would you call it, right? They're telling you, hey, there's nothing wrong. Everything's good to go. But then you go in there and you try to do stuff and the shit is just not working. And again, if you wanted to see this yourself, you could easily go to their Discord server, and this is where all of the problems began, February 18th. And they were saying that they experienced a service disruption and that the issue had been fully resolved. But this issue has been ongoing since February 18th. And what I had to do was I actually had to send them an email, because once I realized there was an issue, I found their support email on their website, sent them an email, like almost within a minute or two, I got some canned response saying that, hey, all systems are operational. As you can see right there, they say the issue has now been fully resolved. And then I sent them another email, a follow-up email saying, hey, I'm still experiencing this issue. And then they sent me an email, which was an auto reply, like literally 1 minute after that, with the same exact email. And again, this was all before I actually went to their Discord server. And it was at that point that I went to their Discord server to post this post saying, hey, can I get some help? Because you guys are saying everything is all good, and I'm getting these canned replies from the support email inbox that you're directing me to. And basically what I've been doing is just screenshotting all of the issues that I've been having and posting it to their Discord server. Hopefully they'll work through all of this. I don't know, but honestly, when it comes time for the rebuild, if relax mode is still taking hours in order to generate videos, then I'm not going to spend $95 to wait an hour or more for a couple of generations to happen, knowing that those initial generations are probably going to suck and I'm going to have to re-roll them until I get something that's usable. And I just hit the refresh button as I'm recording this, trying to see if this may have booted up, and it still has not. And now it's been well over an hour, and let's go ahead and click it to the board so that you can see what I'm waiting on. So this is the board where the generations are. They generate 2 videos at a time, and as you can see, it still has not kicked off. And the other limitation of relaxed mode is that you can only do 6 generations at a time. So we've got this one waiting, and they generate 2 at a time, as I mentioned. So if I try to do another generation, that's 4, and then if I go somewhere else and try to do another generation, that's 6. And if they're all still sitting here and none of them are rendering, then you have to wait until at least one of these sets renders before you can do something else. So again, to recap this segment, something happened on February 18th. They're saying it was a problem with one of their technology vendors. I'm thinking they weren't able to handle the surge of new users, because again, I'm recording this, well, it's about to be 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and there shouldn't be a lot of people on Luma at this point. So there definitely shouldn't be an issue where their servers are being overloaded, but I do think that there were a mad rush of people who came and signed up for Luma. They got overwhelmed and they've not been able to recover since. Generations in relaxed mode used to happen a lot faster. As you can see, it's taking well over an hour. Something's definitely broken, and if they don't fix it by the time my thing is up for rebuild, I'm just gonna go back down to the middle tier, use my 10,000 credits, which you can actually run through pretty quickly, and then maybe just check in every now and then to see if they've actually fixed the issue. But again, as you saw, you cannot go by what they're telling you in Discord, because they're repeating that things are fixed, and you obviously see that they are not. And as a quick update, you can see right here that there is still some generations that I ran after these finally came through. The only thing I literally did was to click the button that says show more, and as you can see, those videos still have not generated after more than an hour. In fact, right here, I took this screenshot at 12:40 p.m. Central Standard Time. The time is now 1:10 p.m. Central Standard Time as of this segment of this recording, and they have not generated as of yet. Okay, so one of the things that I want to point out is that if and when Luma Dream Machine can work through all of the issues that they're currently having, Luma Ray2 actually turns out to be a great use case for anime. And if we check out our buddy Oscar AI over on X, you will see that he's been doing some some amazing things with Luma Ray2. I like the fact that he points out that with Ray2, the animation that you can create is literally on par with something that you would see on Netflix. And he's been putting Ray2 through its paces with anime, and I'm just going to show you this quick video that he created because he actually added music and some sound effects. Okay, so we're not going to watch the entire thing, but I did want to give you an idea of what he's been doing with Ray2, and he's got some other examples on his X feed. This guy actually specializes in animation and illustrations. So if you come to his X profile, this is basically what you're going to see are a lot of that. I actually started a project that I was working on and was hoping to put together to be able to release to the channel, but then Ray2 started having all of these issues, and that kind of just got put on the back burner for now. But basically what you're seeing right here is two clips that I took and spliced together in order to create somewhat of a sequence, and all of that was going to be part of a broader project, as you can see right here, where I've got all of these clips that I generated. This is when things were going very well with Ray2, and it's also when I actually had some more credits. One of the other things that I like with Ray2 and anime is that it kind of gets an idea of how the action sequences should work, although they're pretty tame, and then also in almost every single instance something changes with the actual characters. So as you can see, this robot right here, he looks one way, he looks different here, but then you'll end up getting something like this to where I guess they're hugging, I don't know. But as you can see from this clip right here, I mean, anime can be a thing with Ray2 if they work some of this out, because I think they're afraid to have these two make contact and actually just start duking it out. This is a sparring match. As you can see, he's training with his droid. It's a dynamic sparring session in a minimalist dojo. So again, there is some potential here, but here's another example of where the robot just changes the look completely. You can see that right here, he looks completely different, as well as right here. So really, the only way this is going to be usable is if the characters in the scenes can maintain a certain level of consistency. And so again, I mentioned in the initial video how it does somewhat of what Sora does, to where Sora will start off with what you give it, and then it completely morphs the scene into something totally different. Ray2 isn't doing that here to where it just changes the entire scene, but it does change the actual characters somewhat in the scenes themselves, and they are going to have a way to work that out so that everything remains consistent within the shot. And down here's another example. You see this guy grows horns right here. You know, maybe he's leveling up, I don't know, but it's just a sparring session, so I wouldn't imagine him having to go through those lengths. But again, that's another example where the character is not remaining consistent. I do like where this is going, to where, you know, you're getting something like that, and I did not prompt for this to happen, but again, you see clearly the robot itself changes. And here's yet another example, but the reason I'm showing you this clip is because this is another one of those instances where it looks like Luma's almost afraid to just let them unleash on one another. Like, I'm expecting blows to be exchanged, but it's just very tepid. They're just basically doing pity pat with one another, and it could be due to censoring. You know, maybe they don't want to have any violent scenes, but if they in fact get to the point to where they change that and let scenes like this become unleashed and you actually do get martial arts type scenes, that would be something very epic. Now, these were more scenes that I generated for the AI short that I wanted to create, and the reason I'm showing you this scene is because of this. Recently, Luma added this right here, which is similar to what Minimax or Luma AI just added, which was the director mode, where you can put in shots and camera angles. You can even add in styles and even control the lighting. Now, just as how Minimax has it to where this director mode thing only works for text to video, I get the impression that the same is going on here with Luma Dream Machine, because as you can see right here, for this prompt I said overhead, and then I gave the prompt of the uniformed corporate police force marching through the streets, and as you can see, that did not happen. And I believe believe the main reason it didn't happen is because this is image to video and the shot starts from a low angle. I was expecting somehow that the AI would keep the image and its details intact, but then giving us a overhead of this scene. But obviously that was wishful thinking and we're not quite there yet. So again, brand new feature added here, similar to the director's mode in Luma AI / Minimax. But my initial thoughts with this is that it's only going to work for text to video. Again, if you think about it, with image to video, you've already got the image kind of how you already want it, and it's basically going to take the AI doing hallucinations to get all of this other stuff going on, like overhead or aerial shot, bird's eye view, wide angle. You know, these are some of the things that you've already added into the prompt when you were creating the image to begin with. If you're still wanting to add in camera movements, you would still need to pull it up with the camera prompt, and then you would go through the list to get all of the different options available to you that way. So just wanted to pop back in right here because I don't know if you've noticed, I am kind of recording this out of sequence, and now we're going on 2 hours to where this has not generated yet. I do want to point out instances where I do get some pretty interesting visuals from Ray2. Now you can clearly see that I prompted the camera movement for the camera to orbit left, and what we're getting with this first one is basically a crane up shot, but it still looks pretty interesting. And this one has a fly in closer to this right here, and I did like that. It's not something that I initially thought of, but I do like that shot, and I believe I definitely would use that in a cinematic film. Either one of these shots would actually work because both shots do have some nice dynamic movement. Now, these shots down here kind of went off the rails, but as you can see, it's trying to capture some of the prompt where I talk about the people in the robes wearing VR-like visors. I mean, it definitely gets that part right. And maybe you could use this as a cutaway, but then you've got this thing in the background that appears out of nowhere. It's nowhere else in the scene. So I think that would be kind of weird. And this I do like because maybe they've done their chanting and this thing has now started to activate, and you know, it's going to do whatever happens next. So you get this quick fly in, and then this thing starts to come to life, and maybe, you know, whatever happens, maybe they've pleased it with all of their rituals and chanting and stuff. I did want to compare that to a shot that worked very well over at Kling AI, and if I were being honest, I would say this is probably the best out of all of those scenes that Luma generated, although I could still use those scenes from Luma. But in terms of prompt adherence and just a smooth camera movement, I asked for the prompt to have the camera slowly orbit right, and it is doing exactly that. And I did want to show you some more scenes to where I'm not doing anime, I'm using more realistic looking characters. And I noticed that Luma has somewhat of the same problem that Runway has, to where you get these frozen characters who are just like, you know, he's not moving at all, but there's movement going on over here. And I do like that kind of scene, but then that other guy disappears. Now, it would have been badass if this guy appeared in the middle of those two, but it's either that guy moves right there or it's another person altogether. And again, this guy's just kind of frozen and he's not moving at all. So we have that. And again, with a scene like this, it just completely goes off the rails. I don't know what's going on with this scene right here. And honestly, I didn't give it a prompt because I just wanted to see what would happen when I just let it kind of go off and do its own thing. But again, you can't help but notice all of the hallucinations that are going on with the changes in the background and then things like this right here. And pretty much there's the same thing happening with these scenes as well. You see the background changing, although the guy kind of moves, but then what happens to the shield, and then he just turns into someone completely different. And then right here, you see this appear in the background. I mean, you couldn't even say that it appeared out of the fog. I mean, it just literally just appeared out of nowhere, basically. And they're still kind of frozen stiff, which I guess could work for a slow motion scene if you're just trying to look for a dynamic scene where they're just like, hey, these guys just appeared on the scene. This is who we're up against. But again, all of this going on in the background just kind of throws that off. And pretty much it's the same story with all of these other scenes that I try to get as well. And I would say out of all of those shots, this would probably be the only shot that would work. because honestly, you don't see the pagoda in the background in the initial image, but then it kind of reveals itself as the camera orbits to the left of me and tilts up. So if you had to pick one of the shots out of all of these shots, I would say this would probably be the best one. But here's something that you didn't notice and I did not notice as well. As you guys know, I put that training in the AI Cinematographer's Mid-Journey Playbook about how to train your AI eye. You see this veiny stuff going on right here, and you can kind of see it right here. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really notice all of that initially in the image and really didn't even think it was a thing until I took the same image over to Kling. And as you can see, Kling clearly understood the assignment and was able to catch things that I didn't even initially think about. So now this looks like energy pulses, and this guy's kind of got it going on over here as well. The shields are actually spinning, and there's much more dynamic movement with the characters themselves. And the prompt even alludes to what should be happening. It says that the shields are glowing red with energy and pulsating with increased intensity or increasing intensity, sending rhythmic waves of red light rippling through the misty air. Stationary camera. I do like that it pulls out, and you also don't get a bunch of hallucinations going on in the background. And just to quickly show you, this is the exact same prompt that I just showed you in Kling. So Luma with the same prompt about the rhythmic waves and the red light and things like that, it didn't pick up any of that. And it also completely ignored camera push in, but you can also say the same for Kling as well. But Kling was the clear winner here. The other thing that I want to point out is that Luma has a big issue with motion blurring. If you see this clip right here, whenever her hands extend out to the left, you see that the hands become blurred, but once they don't move as much, it looks a lot better. But her hair is also doing motion blurring right there. As you can see, it's moving, but then it kind of blurs and warps. But outside of that, I think this would be a pretty good scene. Same issue with this scene as well. As you see, when her hand reaches out to grab this flower that's falling from the sky, there's a lot of warping and motion blur with that. And then not only with that, you get these anatomical errors where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the hands become disformed, and anyone watching that close enough would probably be able to pick up on that. And here's a bit more of an example of that motion blurring. You can see it in her eyes and her hair. It's not as bad, but I can still notice it. And also in the tassels on her bikini right here. As she gets closer, you're going to see those kind of warping as well. And so recently I purchased Topaz Labs Video AI 6, and they do have an option to not only upscale to 4K, which is what I've been using it for the most. They've got this option to motion deblur your footage. And so I ran it through Topaz Labs, and I'm not exactly sure if it changed much. I'll do a before and after comparison on the screen for you guys to see. I thought that it may have cleaned it up a little bit, but maybe what we're actually seeing is not something that's actually motion blur. Maybe we're just seeing something that's actually morphing. So if it's not actually changing the scene, then maybe it's not deblurring because there's nothing to the blur. This is not blurring. This is something different. Does that make sense? You guys let me know in the comments below this video. And hey, look at this. I actually just finished recording the intro to this video. Remembered that I should go check Luma to see if these generations had actually gone through. And 4 hours later, they finally showed up, and they actually turned out to look pretty good. Even better so than the one that I showed you that was having the motion blur problems. Let me show them to you just right quick. So this clip would have been great except for that little stutter step that she does right there. It doesn't look natural, but outside of that, it's a dynamic moving scene. There's not any warping. There's not any motion blur. I like this scene. What do you think? This scene I thought was even better. It's a slow motion scene, and it just tracks with her as she's walking. There's no motion blur. Her hands look fine, and the walk looks great. So again, it will be great once they finally fix the relaxed mode generations. They are definitely not supposed to be taking 4 hours. Something's absolutely broke with that. And again, you can't really work efficiently knowing that you're going to have to re-roll these things in order to get generations that actually work for you. So what are you guys' thoughts about Luma Ray2? What do you think about its use case for animation? Do you see the potential there if they were able to work out all of the kinks, that this could be something that ends up looking pretty amazing? I haven't actually tested a lot of these scenes with Kling yet, so we'll actually have to see if we get something as dynamic with Kling as well. But my opinion, as of this video, as most of you have already probably concluded yourselves, Kling Kling 1.6 is still going to be a safe bet, if anything. Meaning, if you only were able to choose one image to video generator to go with because of budget or maybe not wanting to have multiple subscriptions all over the place, Kling is still king. But this Ray2 release did give them a run for their money. And again, if Luma works out all of this stuff, then Kling's got some serious problems unless Kling releases something even more awesome in the coming weeks or months. So as always, if you like these in-depth reviews of all of these AI tools and how you can apply them to your projects, your own AI films, then be sure to hit that like button and also be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any new updates like this in the future. So once again, my name is Paul Donis Maximus. Thanks for checking out this video. Please join me in the next one.